What's up, guys? Jack here, bringing you the first week of the playoffs versus our opponent, the Everett Tropius. This was an insanely good match. Matt played extremely well throughout this game, and I was definitely on the edge of my seat throughout the match. The main Pokemon looking at his team that I was very scared of was, of course, Mega Pinsir, which I knew that he was bringing 100%, and Nidoking and Darmanitan, both of which just tear a hole through my defensive core. So I decided to bring dual Scarfers this week, Tornadus and Victini, because both of those outspeed his Scarfers, Nidoking and Darmanitan, plus Heracross as well, and then both of them Oko easily. And then, of course, with the Scarf, they also outspeed the Pinsir as well. I also brought Banded Mamoswine because Ice Shard just does wonders against his team. His only switch into a Banded Ice Shard is Forretress, which I have other answers to anyways. I have Manaphy, just timid, max speed, max special attack, pretty standard, and then a physically defensive Rotom Heat. I was deciding between Rotom Heat and Doublade because depending if a Pinsir does not have close combat, then it can't hit Rotom, and if it does not have Earthquake, it can't hit Doublades. But I couldn't bring both Rotom and Doublade because other than Wall Pinsir, they don't do much against this team, and they're both countered by the same Mons. So I kind of had a 50-50 choice, and I decided to go with Rotom Heat, mostly because it has a pain split to be able to stay in a bit longer, as well as Will-O-Wisp to whittle stuff down. And then I also have Tentacruel as well. It's max HP, max speed, timid, and its main goal is just to keep Stealth Rocks off of my side of the field, since I do have 3 Pokemon weak to the rocks. So I am going to lead with the Scarf Victini. And I decided that throughout the season, I always start off with U-turn or Volt Switch, so I decided to go for Zen Headbutt just to change things up. I'm starting to realize that my lead U-turn Volt Switch lead is very predictable, so I'm trying to modify that a little bit. So Victini does take out Goodra turn 3, which is really nice, because now that Goodra's gone, he has no switch-ins to a V-Create. And since I outspeed basically everything on this team, Victini, as long as I can get Victini in safely, it just basically kills something with the V-Create. So I'm going to go into Tentacruel, because as I said, its only purpose throughout this match is to keep rocks off of my side of the field, so that Victini, Tornadus, and Rotom can all come in safely. And then he's going to switch out into Jolteon, and I'm going to Rapid Spin. And now that Goodra's gone and Pinsir outspeeds, Mamoswine is definitely the least valuable member of my team, so I'm kind of just going to sack it off here and then just go into Victini because, as I said, he now has no switch-ins to a V-Create. I was really worried that Fortress was going to be a Custap Explosion, but then once I saw the leftovers, I was absolutely relieved. So I'm able to just kill that off with a V-Create, and now he has no ways to set up rocks. So now I could just sack off Tentacruel right here because, as I said, it's done its job. No reason to keep it around, and I'm just going to go into Tornadus. I predict the Florges switch in, and I go for the Sludge Wave, which is going to be a 2-hit KO on the Florges, especially with that burn whittling it down. Since I am Scarfed, of course, I'm locked into Sludge Wave, so I'm just going to fire off another one. And then he's going to send in Jolteon because Sludge Wave will not kill it at this range. So I send in Rotom Heat to take that Thunderbolt, no problem. I'm just going to go for the Overheat just to get damage off. And then I'm going to Volt Switch right here out into Manaphy because Conk is a beast. He's going to get the knockoff off, so I lose my lefties, which isn't huge. Manaphy isn't too important in this matchup. I do get the burn there, which is rather unfortunate, but I have Tornadus here. It's not going to take too much from a Mach Punch, and I'm just going to kill it off with Air Slash. So even though Conk is pretty scary with the burn, it wasn't too important. And here I'm just going to sack off Tornadus because as long as I can keep, as I said, as long as I can keep Victini alive, I basically win the match. And here I'm just going to pause it real quick. I took forever to make my decision here whether to switch out into Rotom or keep Victini in. I decided to keep Victini in because if I switch out to Rotom and he sets up a Swords Dance, at the range of HP Rotom's at right now, a close combat could potentially knock it out. So I decided that I'm going to stay in with Victini instead, and I can just sack it off in case he did want to set up the Swords Dance. But as you see, he does go for the return, and I can just safely go into Rotom Heat and kill it with an Overheat. Watching this playback after the match, it doesn't really capture how stressful this match was. Like, this is the first week of the playoffs. Matt prepared extremely well with that. Jolteon, especially. Jolteon was a huge pain in my side throughout the match. The HP water definitely caught me off guard. It was a 1-0 match. It was very close. He played extremely well. I feel like this was the best I've played all season. So just looking back at this replay, didn't really capture how stressed out I was throughout the match. So very well played, Matt, and I look forward to facing you next season of the LSBA.